and it technically needs to be filled out 48 hours prior to your vessel landing in the United States. Is everybody familiar with the ISF? Okay. An ISF is 10 pieces of information that your exporter or your seller needs to give you, and then 2 pieces of information that the steamship line enters. 10 pieces of information are, I don't know them right off, but your seller's name, address, your HTS numbers, your stuffing location, your HTS numbers, if I already said that. Pardon me? Description of goods. Original country of origin. Okay? If I'm missing tax ID number, your tax ID number. I'll get all the 10, so we'll have it. So you have it. The 2 pieces of information that the steamship line provides is all the ports that they hit in the United States, their sail plan, and where your cargo is on board that vessel. Okay? The reason an ISF is so important, it's also known as the 10+2 rule. The reason it's so important is the ISF went into effect January 26th of 2010. They started enforcing it on July 9th, 2013. So companies ask me all the time, well, why have we dealt with this? If we weren't going to get fined, why did we need to do this? Well, the country was profiling importers and seeing who followed the rules. Even though you didn't get fined for it, they still wanted to know who was doing it. They were watching and taking statistics. If you weren't doing it, maybe your containers were getting pulled in for inspection more times than normal. That's the reason. Okay? But now, going forward, I can tell you that you will be fined if you do not complete your ISF. As the importer, you need to take control of that. No matter what INCOterms you use, you want to make sure that your ISF is being filed. Here's a little hint. You can also ask the Commerce Department to give you a record of all your ISF filings. It does 2 things. If you're the head of your department, you can make sure that it's being done. I cringe. But if you're leaving that up to another company to file it for you, you can make sure that they're doing it. But more importantly, make sure that other companies aren't filing an ISF under your number. Okay? So, again, put it in your best practices that you contact the Commerce Department on a regular routine and get your ISF reporting. Okay? Questions on any of that we talked about? Denied parties, denied countries. Okay? Again, from a freight forwarder standpoint, if I move your product and I move it to a denied country or a denied party, I'm also responsible. And I can also be fined. So we're in this together. So please, give me as much information as you have. Okay? Fines usually start for freight forwarders at $20,000. Usually start for shippers at $50,000. And it could go up to losing your privilege to export. And I use that term because exporting is a privilege. Okay? The government does watch who's exporting and what they're exporting. The government is making it easier for companies to export. That's the good news. The bad news is they're enforcing more now than they ever have. So they're taking some of the obstacles away for you, but the obstacles that are still there, they're watching and coming down harder than they ever have. Okay? Has anybody had any experience with denied parties or denied countries?
Just verify that the companies we're sending to are not on the list.
Yep. Make sure you verify that, but also verify where your end use is going. Okay? Make sure that somebody's not buying your product and then reselling it somewhere else. And you are still held responsible for that. I know somebody told me a couple weeks ago when I was doing a class that we don't have to worry about this because we use a distributor over there and we really don't know where our product's going, but it's not our problem. No, it is your problem. Okay? And the farther out your product goes, the more liability there is for you. Okay? So know that. Carl, maybe in your case, and I'm not sure how your foreign entity works, but you might be just making a domestic sale at that point. Is your foreign entity a vendor or a customer, or both?
Both, actually. Yeah.
Both, actually?
Customer could be a vendor, depending. They could be building something for us and we sold over here, or we could be building something for them and they sold over there.
Okay.
So it works interchangeably.
Okay. So there's something there that needs to, you got to know that, where it's going. And so good. Okay? All right.
Is there a list that's out there that lists all the companies, people, parties, countries that we're not allowed to?
There is a list. It comes from the Commerce Department. For you to have it personally, you'd have to subscribe, and I could get you that book that you could subscribe to if you wanted to. But there's updates to it every month, so you got to keep it updated.
So there's not a website you can go out where it just discloses all this information?
You can also go on the Department of Commerce, or the Commerce Department website. You can call them, contact them. But I will say that probably the best way to do it is your freight forwarder. If your freight forwarder is filing your AES, they will know right away. If you're filing your AES internally yourself, you'll know right away. So instead of getting an ITN number, you're going to get a denied party. That's why I say make sure you have your ITN number.